Going back to our earlier story about the AmaZulu throne legal battle, we're now joined by cultural expert from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Professor Sihawu Ngubane, to discuss this case. Good evening, Professor. Thank you very much for joining us on the late edition. So we've heard arguments today from the President's legal representative defending his decision to recognize King Misuzulu as the AmaZulu monarch. Now, Prince Makate and his supporters, of course, on the other hand, have always maintained that the identification process did not adhere to customary laws. Where do you stand on this whole matter?
Mfundo, your line is very bad, but can you repeat the question?
So I'm asking, what we've been seeing now playing out is that you've got the President's legal representatives that have defended his decision to recognize King Misuzulu, and then on the other hand, we've consistently had Prince Makate and his supporters maintaining that the proper processes, were not followed when identifying the heir. Where do you stand on this?
I'm standing on the fact that these are two separate issues, because when the king was installed using the traditional custom, the process was complete and the protocols were observed. So the outcome of this legal battle has got checked on the throne of the Zulu king. So that is where I stand.
So you're saying that on the aspect of the customary law or tradition, because many have stated that he underwent that tradition of Kungena Isibayeni ceremony at the Royal Palace in Nongoma, that in fact that concluded the process customarily. But
absolutely, yes.
Now we're dealing with the legal aspect, at least the processes pertaining to the act. Where do you stand on that part?
I think involving courts and the overrule by courts on the traditional practices, it provides erosion of the cultural heritage, because the traditional practices are covered by customary law, which is recognized by the act or by the law. So that is why I'm saying that the issue now of the court is separate from what we have. We have the Zulu king in place who has followed all the cultural protocols, and it has got no effect on his seat as a monarch.
The question has always been, since this matter came to the fore, the question has always been around the Royal Council or the elders within the kingdom, that where are they when a matter finds itself in court, if we are to preserve customs and allow for the kingdom to resolve its own issues?
I think the main reason for that is because of the conflict that exists in the royal family, and they have started now with the negotiations of reconciling the royal house. And at the time when this case started, there was that dispute and conflict which resulted in the king not engaging the council, because the council did not exist. But now the process has already begun for the King's Council to be in place, and I think even the chairperson has been elected, so things will not be the same as when the case was launched.
Now, Professor, there are some who have shared your views, arguing that, if anything, this is a matter challenging the legal process, not necessarily King Misuzulu's legitimacy as the rightful heir, as the son of Manvombi Dlamini Zulu, the princess of an absolute monarchy and the daughter of Inkosi Usabusobuza. So in that instance, if there are many who believe that he is the son, as stated, of, or the grandson of Inkosi Usabusobuza, and we know that that was an absolute monarchy, where is the confusion with the other faction within the family?
That's a good question that we need to ask the family, because this case is not challenging legitimacy, because that was covered in Peter Marisbeck, where Judge Matondo presided and also ruled that the legitimacy of King Misuzulu was eligible. So I think that question goes back to my previous response, that it is because of the dispute and the conflict that exists. That's why this did not take place.
But if the ruling of the Pretoria High Court is upheld, then that would cause some sort of a crisis within the royal family, would it not?
I don't foresee any crisis. I think since we have witnessed today that the king is supported by AmaZulu and also the traditional leadership is on his side, I don't think there will be any crisis.
All right. Professor, thank you very much for your insights this evening. That's cultural expert from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Professor Sihawu Ngubane, speaking to us there.